Hi there, Kar Yong here, and welcome back to another weekly analysis video over here. So as usual, what we're going to do is walk you through a quick summary of what has happened in terms of risk event for the last week. What are some of the risk events that you want to take note of this coming week? And from there, we'll take a look into the charts and share with you some of my perspective analysis, as well as the opportunities that you might want to keep an eye on. Now, very quickly, last week were relatively quiet, and generally it's a shorter week because of Monday was US holiday, okay? And of course, there's not much of an event other than the pound CPI year on year, as well as the Canadian CPI month on month. Both came in pretty hot, which means that inflation pressure is generally, overall from a global scale, it's still piling onto the central banks and economy. Okay, and therefore we are not surprised to keep seeing overall interest rate is going to continue to rise, at least for the short term. Okay, so that was the main highlight for last week, not much. Now if you take a look at what we have for this coming week, generally it's not that active as well. But on Wednesday, of course, depending on your time zone, over here is based in Malaysia. On Wednesday evening, we do have a couple of various presidents as well as chairmen speaking, coming from Euro, Pound, as well as the dollar. And then on Thursday evening, we have the US Core PCE Price Index, which is also a very important indicator because the central bank does look at the PCE Price Index as an inflationary gauge as well. Okay, so overall, I think there might be some volatility coming into the market, and you definitely want to keep an eye on mainly on Wednesday and Thursday itself on those currencies that's related, such as the euro, the pound, as well as the dollar. Right, so with that, let's take a look into the charts. Now let's start off with the dollar index over here. Okay, now I'll be focusing mainly on the 4-hour time frame as usual. Right now, based on the patterns and the technical analysis on the dollar index, there's a good possibility we'll see a little bit more upside. The market has been in a range-bound environment since last week. Okay, at the top we have 105.80 as the resistance, and then bottom over here is 103.40 as a support. And the market is basically consolidating at this moment. Okay, so what will probably give us an opportunity over here is that if the dollar comes down a little bit more towards the previous support around 103.40 in a very corrective manner, then we might be able to look for a buy opportunity back towards the previous high, mainly as a short-term buy setup. Okay, alternatively, if let's say from here the market doesn't really come back down, but instead it just keep pushing higher, then when it's back towards the 105.80 resistance, then I think that will be the area to look for an alternative short position. Okay, so it really depends on the beginning of the week how the dollar is going to play out. Do keep an eye on that, because if the market hit higher back towards the key resistance, we're going to look for sell opportunity, and the opposite is true. If the market comes down a little bit towards the support area, then we'll be looking for mainly a buy opportunity. Okay, so with that, if you take a look at the euro, which is kind of inverse relationship with the dollar, we kind of have the similar pattern over here, which the market seems to be consolidating. Now the euro dollar does give us a little bit different perspective. I would say mainly I'll be focusing more on the buy opportunity for the euro, more specifically the euro dollar, and I'll be keeping a very close watch in around this zone. Okay, somewhere around 1.0440. I'll be waiting for the market to come down a little bit, and importantly, it comes down a little bit more of a corrective structure in a slow manner, and we do have this very nice little consolidation flag pattern. And of course, as long as the market maintain above this previous low, we get a pattern of an impulse consolidation, and therefore we'll be looking for a buy opportunity for one more push around that 1.0440 zone. Okay, and that from an Elliott wave perspective is going to be completing that 1, 2, 3 wave itself. Okay, so do keep an eye on that. Of course, the market does not need to always develop what we want. So another way to look out for euro dollar opportunity is that we do have this little double top around that 1.06 level, and if the market is able to clear it off in a very impulsive manner, a potential trade idea here is to look out for a breakout entry as well. Okay, so that's on the euro. In terms of pound dollar, I think it's a little bit clearer in terms of the pattern that I'll be looking out for. Now over here, I'll put in a parallel channel. Okay, and if let's say pound dollar, the market does give us an opportunity by coming back down a little bit more, okay, again in a very slow manner, that will give us a 1 2 3 wave consolidation, 3-wave correction, and we have this combination of an impulse followed by a correction. This gives us a high probability of another push to the upside, right? So you want to keep an eye on the bottom of this channel over here, somewhere around close towards 1.21. Very nice psychological even number as well. Okay, that would present a decent buy opportunity on the pound dollar, right? So do keep an eye on that. Now, Aussie dollar is not the best for the week. Couple of things can potentially develop, and that would change the entire perspective of our viewpoint over here. But for now, if the market does come down a little bit more towards 0.6850, okay, that would then give us a very decent opportunity, because can see this as a potential double bottom formation, and this comes down in a very corrective manner. That would be pretty decent to look for a buy. And of course, you do not want to be overly aggressive for short-term target back to its previous high around 0.7065. Okay, so of course, a lot of things can develop from here if the market doesn't really come back down and instead it just decide to break off. Of course, you can look for a breakout opportunity, but you want to keep an eye on how the market is going to break off from here. Okay, because what can happen is the market can just move a little bit in a very corrective manner, and then from here come back down before another push up. And of course, we really need to monitor how the development of that is gonna be. Okay, so it's a bit difficult right now to say, because we need to of course follow through with the price action and the pattern that's going to develop, right? So Aussie is not as clear as perhaps the pound. I would say the pound dollar is definitely the clearer one relative among these three. Good. Now let's take a look at the dollar CAD. I think dollar CAD might give us a decent one as well, but of course, again, as I always say, the market is always evolving. Okay, so one way to look out for it right now is if I were to put in a parallel channel over here. Okay, there's a good possibility and of course some confluence where the market might have a little bit of a reaction around this area, okay, which we have the previous support plus of course the bottom of the channel over here around 1.2860, and we might see a little bit of a reaction. Okay, and the key here is to observe what is the reaction the market is going to give. If it's going to be a very strong rejection, of course there's a good chance this can be seen as just a retracement, a correction, and our bias remains to the upside for the dollar Canadian currency pair. Okay, however, if let's say we kind of get a little bit of a breakthrough and tiny consolidation over here, there's a good possibility this can keep falling, maybe a deeper correction, or even all the way back towards retesting the previous bottom around 1.2520. Okay, so it really depends again on the reaction that the market is going to give us around 2860. Okay, that will be a crucial one to keep an eye on. All right. Next up, we have the dollar franc. Now, dollar franc is quite clear and straightforward in terms of the direction that I'll be primarily focusing on right now. On the forward chart, we do have this bottom. We have a very nice reaction where the market pushed off, and then right now is retesting back at the bottom. Okay, so kind of giving us that little double bottom formation around 9545. And not only that, we have this little crawl pattern, which again indicate a good possibility of a reversal. Okay, now adding in the RSI indicator, we are also seeing a divergence build up where the market continued to drop, but RSI actually made a higher low, and again this indicates lack of momentum and a potential reversal. Okay, so dollar franc, I think it's one of the clearest setup next week as well, which you can look for a reversal buy opportunity within the week. Okay, lastly, in terms of FX over here, we have the dollar yen. Now, dollar yen is not the clearest as of now. However, one thing to note is that we definitely have a very clear divergence setup. Okay, you can see over here as the market makes a higher high, the RSI actually makes a lower high. Again, a potential reversal is indicating that, right? But again, nothing is 100% in the market, and right now what you really want to keep an eye on is how the market on dollar yen is going to develop next. Now, ideally, if this were to go back up in a very corrective manner and slow, then what can present in terms of opportunities, a double top formation for downside trade just towards the previous low over here. For this to develop, of course, it requires time, and you need to be patient and again monitor how the market develop from there. The other possibility over here is, of course, we don't get that double top, maybe just a tiny bit of consolidation and market just keep falling. If you are looking at this setup over here, is a little bit aggressive because we are currently still seeing that we have this impulse push to the upside, which means that the bullish momentum is probably still intact, and taking a short trade from here might be a little bit aggressive, right? But of course, we're talking about probabilities and things can still play out pretty neat for a sell trade. Okay, so again, depend on your strategy, depends on your profile and your personality, how you want to manage it. Okay, so in terms of FX over here, I would say the clearest and the cleanest setup that you might definitely want to, you might want to add it into your watch list or definitely want to keep an eye on, is gonna be the pound dollar as well as the dollar franc. I think that's the two clearest one. Okay, now let's take a look at the gold market. Okay, now over here I've already put in a little bit of an analysis. Overall for gold, I would say at least for the short term, we can expect one more push to the upside. As long as the market kind of being able to be supported by this channel. Okay, and what I like about it is we can see right now this little pullback here seems very corrective in nature, and there's a good chance we're going to see a 1, 2, and 3, right? Whether the market is going to go back and retest the top of the channel, we definitely need to see how the reaction is going to be. But for now, until proven otherwise, I'll be focusing more on the buy setup going into next week. Okay, S&P, we had a very decent bounce as of last Friday. Okay, nothing surprising as well. I think last week I did cover a little bit where we might see a little bit of a reaction because of this little channel over here. Okay, of course not picture perfect, but again, every time the market kind of comes down towards the bottom, you do not want to sell. Last week I did mention that you do not want to immediately buy as well because sometimes it doesn't bounce, right? But when you're having that neutral bias, then the best way forward is to just remain patient and wait for more confirmation, right? And we get that today, right? Because based on this chart pattern here, we can clearly see this is a V shape, is a rejection. Okay, and there's basically a good possibility of this perhaps going higher as well. It might not be a full-on reversal in the equities market, but I think short-term wise, maybe going to next week, we might see a little bit of positive upside for equities. Okay, now key levels here to keep an eye on if you're interested in short-term buy, I would say somewhere around 4190. This is for S&P 500 market. Okay, that will be maybe your take profit one target. Right now, lastly that we're going to cover in this video is the Bitcoin. For me, I feel that right now is still not the best time to be looking at a crypto market. Over the past few weeks, it has been very volatile, and of course we did see Bitcoin breaking some very significant resistance level around the 30,000 psychological number as well, and of course from a very technical specific level here is around $29,200. Okay, price is still basically maintaining below it. I don't think it's a good price point to be looking for sell yet, or even if you're looking or considering to buy, I think you want to be a little bit patient for now. Okay, so again, Bitcoin over here, I would personally suggest, or even in fact cryptocurrency itself, to just be patient, sit by the sidelines, and give it some time and see how it develops first. Okay, so that's all from me for this week. Again, general reminder to always manage your risks. All the best to your trading, and I'll see you guys real soon again.